Hello and welcome back for episode 2 of the Chicago White Sox franchise. Today the plan is to get through the entire month of April. We'll be playing some player locks, we'll be simming with critical situations on. We did lose the last game though of March against the Twins to bring us down to 2-2. I originally had a different intro planned for this episode where we were going to watch highlights of that game that I let play out CPU versus CPU, but I abandoned that, not just because the game itself was boring because it was 2-0, but it also just didn't really work. But yeah, the team didn't look so good. 2-0 loss. We don't want to be getting shut out. But for April 1st, to start this brand new month, to start this new episode, it's not a joke. This is actually happening. I am going to be calling up our two biggest prospects right now, Kyle Teel and Colson Montgomery. I think they're both MLB ready right now. If you look at Colson Montgomery's hitting right here, it's looking good. Over 60 contact both ways. The power is good. The only thing that's worrying is the vision at 29. He might deal with some strikeouts. The fielding also might be iffy for him at shortstop, but I do plan on playing him at shortstop for now. But then Kyle Teel's the same thing too. He's a 76 overall. He's MLB ready to me. The hitting, the fielding is actually really solid behind the plate. And the biggest reason that I want to do this is I want to do what I can to try and take advantage of this prospect promotion incentive. Now, I'll admit I'm not like an expert on this and how it works, but if you go to this handbook thing here and it tells you all about the different stuff that you need to know, it says we'll get an extra draft pick in between the first and second round if one of those PPI players wins Rookie of the Year or finishes top 3 in the MVP or Cy Young in his first 3 seasons. But in order for that to kick in, they have to get a full year of service time in the rookie year. And looking at the service time category, it says you have to be on the major league roster for at least 172 days in order to get that full year of service time in your rookie year. So I figure that both Kyle Teel and Colson Montgomery are actually upgrades to who we have at those positions in the major league. So we may as well make the move now. We may as well make them eligible if one or both of them even go off to get us that extra draft pick. So let's go ahead and make it official then. We have to add Kyle Teel to the 40-man first, but I think we have the spot open here and we don't have to get rid of anybody. So there we go. He's on the 40-man. He's up to the MLB. Montgomery is already on the 40-man. We're bringing him up too. Our two biggest prospects are going to be debuting on the same day. Now the corresponding moves, the first one's an easy one. We're sending down Jacob Amaya at a 62 overall. He's comfortably our lowest overall player on the offensive side of the ball. And then for now at least, just since I don't see a need to have 3 catchers on the major league roster right now, I am going to be sending down Corey Lee. I think this is going to use up his final of his 3 options. And chances are anyway, especially if Kyle Teel and Caro end up being as good as I would hope they are, Lee might not factor a ton into the future. So here they are in the lineup. Against righties, they're batting 4th and 5th back-to-back. Against lefties, they're batting 5th and 6th. I'm making them everyday starters immediately. And we're going to see them in action, of course, on their debut game here on April 1st against the Twins in the second game of the series, hopefully to give our offense a spark after getting shut out in the first game. Now, technically, you can't player lock as 2 players in the same game, but I'm basically going to be treating this like that. I'll be simming everything in between, and then I'll butt in to take the at-bats with Montgomery and Teel. This is also about to be Shane Smith's first MLB start, so it'll be interesting to see how he does. Obviously, we won't be using him. It'll just be seeing how he does simulated. But let me make sure I do this right. I don't want to manage. I want to fast forward. So I think if I do that and just go at bat by at bat here, we can do just that. So here we go. First at batter, or first batter faced for Shane Smith. Let's see what he does. It's a fly out. All right, and he gets through a scoreless first inning. See if we can get Montgomery's at bat here in our first inning. Benintendi leading off with a walk. Robert with a follow-up walk. Vaughn flies out, and here we go. The first at bat of the MLB career for Colson Montgomery. And it's a big spot here too. 2 on, 1 out here in the first inning. Oh, I was all over that. Sitting heat all the way. I'm early on the GOAT difficulty fastball. Oh, we're dialing it in. Oh, and I'm behind that time. He goes way up to the top of the zone. All right, well, now it's Kyle Teal's turn for his first MLB plate appearance with 2 outs now and 2 on. And he gets a hold of one. Hang on a second here. What's that one gonna do? Oh, it gets run down at the track. Almost fireworks in Kyle Teal's first plate appearance. All right, well, for Colson Montgomery's second at bat, he finds himself in a very similar situation. 1 out, 2 on. The Twins did put up 2 in the top half of the third against Shane Smith. Oh, I don't think I got enough of that one, but it is carrying a warning track fly out now for Colson Montgomery, too. At least he moves the runner up to third, but that just means Teal needs to come through with a base hit in order to drive him in. Man, I saw that circle change, too. I waited back. I just waited back too far. That's a shame. Oh, and oh, that one hurts. That one might hurt the most yet. Timing was perfect. I just didn't move the PCI where it needs to go. They're both 0 for 2 so far in their debut. The one thing I'm noticing, though, that's a bit of a shame that I see with Shane Smith and Kyle Teal specifically. I don't know how much with Montgomery, but I know that they updated Shane Smith and Kyle Teal's player models to look more like how they actually do, obviously. But it doesn't seem like that carried over into our franchise mode for whatever reason. Maybe it's just because we started it before the player model got changed. I would have hoped that would make its way into our franchise, but I don't know. I guess that's a little nitpicky. It's not that big of a deal. All right, but Andrew Vaughn got himself on with a 2-out walk. We got another chance against Simeon Woods Richardson with 70 pitches thrown. Man, and again, I tie him up a fastball, but I don't think that has the carry. This feels like it's on me at this point. We're getting a lot of pitches to hit, and I'm just not doing enough. Shane Smith just got taken out after giving up a 1-out base hit. But that's a really solid start to start his career. 5 1/3, 2 runs allowed. He just needed a bit of run support. All right, but now here we go. Leading off the bottom of the 6th, Kyle Teal. Teal, that one's going to get down. That's going to be our first base hit with either of these rookies making their debuts today. And that's the first hit in the career of Kyle Teal. The first of many that we're going to see, hopefully. And nobody was able to drive him in. Nobody even moved him over to second base. All right, well, now in the bottom of the 8th. Still down 2-0, and we have to face Yohan Duran. I don't know how this is even going to be possible on GOAT difficulty. Oh, that's a perfect. Get over his head. I don't think it's going to. That I think is my first GOAT difficulty perfect swing, and it came on a contact swing. A 2-strike count against Yohan Duran. I'm like, you know what? I'm using contact swing here, and of course, that's when I put a perfect swing on it, and it's not going to go anywhere. All right, well, that's a walk for Kyle Teal. So he's getting on base in 2 of his 4 plate appearances. He's having a solid debut. All right, but with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 9th, now down 3-0, on the verge of back-to-back shutout losses. Let's see what Nick Maton can do out of the 9-hole. And I think that's just going to be a pop-up to Buxton in center. And wow, back-to-back shutout losses. Not even the 2 big rookies could come in and make an impact today. Teal did go 1 for 3 with a walk. Montgomery, unfortunately, 0 for 4 in his debut, even with a perfect swing. And for the first time this season, we fall below a 500 record. And before we continue on with anything else today, I did have a couple of things that I wanted to go over that I didn't talk about back in episode 1. I want to talk strategy a little bit, kind of both an overall strategy and a short-term strategy, because this team needs to find its identity. And we're at a spot right now with this roster where this team doesn't have much of an identity. Right now, almost the entire position player roster is between a 70 and a 77 overall. The only exception to that being Luis Robert Jr. at his 84. But I think when you're working with a budget situation like we have, which I'll be totally honest, I've never fully understood this screen. Loading in, it said we had a budget of just over $100 million, but looking at these numbers here, it almost looks like we've got closer to $150 million we could spend. But don't forget, we also have my rule where we can't pay an individual player more than Andrew Benintendi's current total value of his contract, which was $75 million. And then that'll change year to year based on how many wins we get. I explained it back in episode 1. But with not being able to sign superstars like that or lock down young players into their potential superstar years, we're really gonna have to take like a Milwaukee Brewers, Tampa Bay Rays style approach where we just need to build up a solid team. We might not necessarily have stars unless we can luck into drafting them. But looking at our roster right now with where our potentials are at for our young guys, we don't really have the high potential guys. Noah Schultz is our only A potential, and then we do have a decent amount of B potentials. But even these B potentials, they're not like high B potentials. And I do want to run this past you guys. I want to know what you think about this, because I don't know if it's frowned upon to look at this information, but you can go into edit player and you can look at the attributes to see the actual number behind the potential letter grade. So Kyle Teal's potential overall is only an 82. It's on the lower end of what a B potential is. And if you look at where he's at in relation to some of our other B potentials, he's listed above Colson Montgomery, Edgar Caro, Cannon Thorpe, Braden Montgomery. And potentials can change. They can improve. A player can get above his potential too if they play well. But my point I'm making is we don't really even have right now with our roster the superstar potential guys. So I think our goal is going to be to try and build a well-rounded, complete team, top to bottom, no real weak links, maybe no superstars either. But at the same time, we're also going to have to rely a lot on our scouting, because this might be the only way we could get a superstar player. So with that in mind, and with our scouting budget being an extra $38,900, I guess, from what we're paying out right now, I did have a couple of signings that I wanted to make here before we continued, before we really got into scouting for this year. So the first move I'm making, we're firing Thomas Cooley. We're signing Sean Serrano. And Sean Serrano, honestly, he's a good all-around scout, but he really specializes in position player scouting with a 93 efficiency. So he's going to be our first new hire. Our second new hire, though, is going to be a bit of a different strategy than I've ever done before when I've had to handle scouting in March to October, but I'm hiring Jason Rivera for his discovery rating. He's got a 95 discovery with 97 efficiency. I'm replacing Jarrett Savage, but I think the potential to find some diamonds in the rough, some guys that might not even be on other teams' radar, that might be something we really need to take advantage of. So hanging on to Corey Field, he's the only one sticking around. We have him as our pitcher scout, Sean Serrano's our position player scout, and Jason Rivera can handle discovering new players. Now, kind of along those same lines, I want to talk about the coaches real quick, because first of all, man, they did Will Venable dirty. They only gave him a D attribute grade, and he has negatives across the board. Now, I don't fully know how much coaches do. I don't even know exactly what they do, because from what I've seen so far and from my admittedly limited experience playing franchise the last couple of years, even just the ratings it shows for everybody, that doesn't necessarily translate one-to-one in game. Because if you remember back to opening day when I called attention to how all of our relief pitchers had like 5-6 stamina compared to their base stamina rating, that was a -6. Will Venable only gives a -3, and if you look everywhere else, nobody has any effect on stamina. So I don't really understand why that effect was doubled. I don't know if everything's doubled. I don't know if anything else factors in. I also don't even know if there's a factor on development, like maybe, especially like a farm director, maybe like those are the categories people develop quicker in. I don't know. What I do know is I'm not gonna bother replacing Will Venable, at least right now. The rest of our coaching staff, actually besides Ethan Katz, are all A grades, but Venable's only on a 1-year deal. We'll play out this season with him. We'll worry about hiring his replacement next year unless things like really go bad this year. Now a little bit of short-term strategy, and especially this current month that we're going to be playing today, is going to be focused on seeing what we have. Because what we have on this roster, along with our young guys, especially the 2 new call-ups, we also have a bunch of veterans. Austin Slater, Matt Theis, Nick Maton, Michael A. Taylor, Josh Rojas, and Mike Talkman when they come back from injuries. Those are all guys that really don't factor into the future aside from what they could potentially bring in from a trade. And I really don't want to shy away from trying to trade pretty much everybody that we can. That's part of the reason also why I wanted to keep Matt Thaiss around over Corey Lee. I even have Thaiss starting at first base now instead of completely benching him. We move Vaughn to DH. But I want to give Thaiss a shot to maybe put up some numbers at least. He's got 98 discipline. But someone like him or any of those other veterans, if they have a good start and we can turn them even into like a C potential young prospect, I think that's something we got to take advantage of. Because for the most part too, we also have young players that could fill those spots. I mean, we have Edgar Caro, who really hitting wise is ready to get called up whenever. But even aside from our bigger contracts, somebody that I didn't highlight in episode 1 is Chase Mydroth, but I really like the way he looks. I mean, he's only a 72 overall with a C potential, but his hitting, this is major league ready already. 80 plus contact both ways with 85 discipline, 83 clutch, good vision. Like, even if his hitting doesn't get any better, I don't even know if I need it to. And I know you can adjust the training, but I don't know how much of an effect it actually has. But if I could focus all of his development on his fielding, because 54 fielding in the middle infield, you know, that might be a little weak. But my point is, if we trade away some of our veteran infield guys, bringing up somebody like Chase Mydroth, that is a no-brainer. That can fill the spot just as good as a veteran was playing. But yeah, we got a lot. I mean, we've got Corey Julks, he's a 72. We've got Dominic Fletcher at a 71. Oscar Colas is still around. He's a 70. But basically, like I said, my point is we're not going to shy away from making trades. But I think that's everything I wanted to talk about. Obviously, we didn't really do much there. I just wanted to talk a little bit about the strategy since I kind of didn't back in episode 1. But again, for today specifically, trades probably aren't going to be happening. We're probably not going to be making too many more moves, you know, unless injuries happen or something like that. We're just going to get through this first month of April, see what kind of starts some of our guys get off to. And you know what? I want to hop into a player lock with Colson Montgomery. I want to see if I can pick up his first hit like I did Kyle Teal. Ooh, and it looks like we've got a rainy day today to finally get a run across against the Twins. But this is a true player lock, and I guess we get a chance right away to see what Colson Montgomery can do in the field. Oh my God, and it's one of these. That was hit right to me, though. And he didn't... Maybe I shouldn't player lock on defense. I pressed circle. I don't know why he didn't throw the ball. I also don't know why we got a whole pulsing thing on a routine grounder, so that threw me off. We're looking worse. And that was an attempt at a check swing. Go difficulty, you see it out of the hand coming up and in. You got to be ready to swing. I need the game to be more generous, though. Let me hold up. I don't even know how I missed that one. I'm screwing over Colson Montgomery right now. All right, well, we got one last chance. We're facing this dude. Definitely isn't their closer. Bottom 9, though. We might be the last hope. And with that, Colson Montgomery is wearing the golden sombrero here in his second game. Almost makes it feel like a miracle that I put bat on ball as much as I did in the debut game. Kyle Teal, though, rolls over on it, and that's going to be the game. We lose 3 straight to the division rival Twins. All right, well, I think we might have to let Colson Montgomery try and do it on his own here. We've got our first road trip of the season coming up. Custom game entry conditions are set. And we dropped the first game against the Tigers, but it looks like Tauchman is ready to come back. Well, maybe not fully ready. It says he'll still be injured for a day or two, but he can be reinstated from the injured list. So let's do it. Let's activate him. We're going to have to make a corresponding move, though. But first things first, Colson Montgomery does pick up his first career hit when I'm not in control of him. He goes 1 for 5. All right, and for now, I'm going to be sending down Brooks Baldwin just because we can't really really send down the veterans on our team. He's also off to a bit of, I mean, he's only got 15 at bats, but he's 2 for 15 in his first 15 at bats. Maybe give him a bit more of an opportunity now playing in AAA, and we can continue to see if guys like Nick Maton or Travis Jankowski can maybe bump up their trade value. We dropped game 2 of the series to the Tigers as well, so we're on a 5-game losing streak now. But today is the first Sunday of scouting, so we're gonna put our new scouts to the test. All right, and for this first week, for early on in scouting, we're keeping it general. We're scouting position, center fielders, and starting pitchers, and then we're sending Jason Rivera out on a discovery adventure to see if he can dig up some diamonds in the rough. And we do pick up a win in the final game of the series against the Tigers to avoid another sweep. We still haven't gotten a critical situation yet. Then again, none of these games have been super close, it seems. So, well, I will say in this loss to Cleveland, I'm interested why this didn't come up as a critical situation. Because looking at that line score, we would have been down a run going into the 9th inning. So I guess I don't really understand why that doesn't trigger this. All right, well, Talkman's healthy and ready to come back, so I made a few lineup adjustments. Robert and Vaughn were cold up near the top of the order, so moving them down a little bit. Matt Thaiss, the exact reason why I wanted him to start. He's on a bit of a heater right now. He's batting 300. Keep this up. And another loss, another non-critical situation, and now we get swept. Why are we not getting into a game that ends 7-6? I want to see the line score. Wow, we even scored 2 runs to bring it within 1. You would think that would trigger a critical situation. This is a learning experience. All right, well, we're coming back home to face the Red Sox. And here we go, finally a critical situation. I guess it takes the bases loaded, but tie game, 2 outs, the bases are loaded with Benintendi coming up. And we're right into it. It looks like they just brought in Justin Slayton out of the pen. This will be his first pitch thrown. Was never gonna swing. I don't think that has enough carry. No, it's just gonna be a fly out to left. So if we're winning this one, it's gonna be a walk-off. Okay, interesting. So it gives me the option now to complete the game on my own or go back to simming until it gets back to an important enough situation, I guess. I mean, it's a tie game going into the 9th inning. It feels important to me. We are going to get Mike Clevenger into the game. He is actually getting a special entrance because he is technically listed as our closer right now. But he's another veteran that, you know, if he does good out of the pen, which that's not a good start for this game, but he's a potential trade chip is what I was trying to say. Oh, there, I lost track of the count, but we strike out Devers. There's out number 1 in the inning. The lighting looked very weird there. That could be... Okay, I don't know if we needed to do all that, Colson, and it cost us the double play. And we're walking Yoshida now. A lot of misses there from Clevenger on pitches that should have still been good releases. Weak grounder. We got to get there. We are there. Only 8 speed running. No runs come across from Clevenger. He does all he needs to do. Got the heart of the order due up. 3-4-5. Kyle Teal's batting 324 so far in his MLB career. He's also got a homer we can see out on the screen there. He's gone deep already. First career homer came back in the 5th inning. And he's not going to be hitting his second career homer anytime soon. And I'm swinging at the cutter placed perfectly. And I missed that too. I don't even feel like I was late on it. This is rough right now. Really, my best showings at the plate came in that first game, debuting Teal and Montgomery. I was at least, you know, making contact. That play's not going to get made. That's a big strikeout, though. I don't know what you're looking for. No, he's gonna dink it into left field to give him the lead. Well, there's another strikeout. And dude, we can't lose games on those types of hits, man. Oh, and that is staying fair. That's gonna put this one a bit out of reach. We really were like a pitch away from getting out of this inning with only the free run coming around to score, and it was just a second weak off the bat base hit that squeaked through. And I strike out on a pitch right down the middle, a hanging circle change. I am just getting worse and worse with each at bat. You know what though? This is good to have happen early on like this, because not only is this franchise going to be a story about the White Sox as a team getting better, but it's also going to be a story about me getting better, because there's really only one way to go from how I played in that game. Okay, well, it is Scout Day again, and I wasn't going to say much about this just because nothing really happens after 1 week of scouting a position, but I'm not too familiar with how the discovery process works, but it seems like 3 players have been discovered. All 3 of them are first basemen, and we kind of have a wide array of what we're looking at right here. This dude, Jack Diaz, his potential window at least goes all the way up to a 99. This dude, Lenny Albert, really doesn't look that good. His window only goes up to 71, and then Irvin McCoy is kind of in the middle. The other interesting thing is the fact that all 3 that we discovered were first basemen. I wonder if that has to do with our positional needs, because I did set that as first baseman. So I don't know if it was a coincidence or if this influenced that. So just out of curiosity, I'm gonna switch this to shortstop for this next week, and then I'm gonna switch the discovery to the western region, and we'll see if we only see shortstops from California, because that might be what we want to uncover. We get another chance at a critical situation here. Down 1, runner on first, nobody out, and Aroldis Chapman on the mound. Travis Jankowski stepping up to the plate, but I don't see him as the one that I take the swings with here. And you know what? We have him on the bench. It's his off day, but we got a shot to not get swept here, to break this losing streak we're on. And I got a fastball right down the pipe. Good timing. I'm telling you, it's the left thumb for whatever reason. It's not finding its mark. All right, I'm going to another sub here. We're bringing Austin Slater on the bench to hit for Talkman. And I am out in front of it. We roll into a double play to end the game. And again, you blame the PCI. It's finding where to put that left thumb in relation to where the ball's coming in. But after breaking a 5-game losing streak, we're now immediately on a 6-game losing streak. We're 3-12 on the season. We ended last episode 2-1. And ooh, this is going to be a bit of a setback. Chase Mydroth injures his hand, which I'm pretty sure he did something very similar in real life too around the time he got called up, but he's going to be out for over a month, so no calling him up anytime soon, which might have been fun to do. I think it's time though to make another move here. Jonathan Cannon is off to a very rough start here, and he just had his worst start so far of the year against the A's, but he's 0-4 in his first 4 starts with an 8.38 ERA. He's one of our better potential young pitchers at a 74 overall with the B potential, only 24 years old, so we don't want to completely ruin him. And it just so happens to coincide with the fact that James Karinchak is off to a blistering start in AAA. He hasn't given up a run in 11 2/3 innings, an earned run at least. 19 strikeouts to only 7 hits, and most importantly, only 3 walks allowed. So he was definitely someone I was keeping my eye on to call up if he was doing good in AAA, and he's doing very good in AAA. So it just makes sense with Cannon struggling. We're going to send him down, give him a shot to get right down in AAA. We do have to add Karinchak to the 40-man, but we had one more slot available, and he's going to move up to the MLB, and I am tempted to just slot him right in as our closer. He's our highest overall relief pitcher. I am slotting Mike Vassell, though, into the starting pitcher role left by Jonathan Cannon. He is having a good 11 2/3 inning start to his career with a 1.54 ERA. The only 2 earned runs he's allowed is 2 solo homers, and he's got 75 stamina, so he's basically a starting pitcher anyway. And with that, I think the move is to move Karinchak to that closer role, especially with how rough Clevenger looked when I had to use him. But Karinchak now instantly becomes another guy that if he performs, he could be on the trade block too. And we get another shot at a critical situation. We're actually winning this time. We've got a lead to protect. Only up 1, I think it was, with Jordan Leisure on the mound and 2 on. And it said Leisure allowed 2 hits, so he allowed both those 2 hits within his first 5 pitches coming into the game. And I would assume that means that I have to use him for at least this batter to get to his 3-batter minimum. And did he just turn 2 immediately? He did. So 6 pitches into his outing, he allows 2 base hits and then a first pitch double play. Well, I really hope we can get out of this because it'd be fun to see Karinchak with a chance to close out a game immediately after getting called up. Look at that, we're there. So we will have at least a 1-run lead to protect going into the bottom of the 9th, or the top of the 9th. We're at home. Nothing was done in the bottom half of the 8th, though, so it's Karinchak coming in to close out a 1-run lead immediately after getting called up. I am actually extremely excited to see what he can do. If he can actually be a weapon out of this bullpen, if he can put up numbers for me and somebody actually wants him around the deadline, look at that pitch. Now you sit him down with the filth. Exactly like that. Oh, this is picture perfect right now. Weak dribbler roll over to Vargas on 1 pitch. 1 to go. That is a perfect first outing after getting called up from AAA. It literally does not get any better than that. A 3-out or a 3-batter save. What am I saying? He picks up the save with only a 1-run lead in a perfect inning is what I'm trying to say. With 2 strikeouts, he looked dominant. It's not all negatives today. That was at least exciting. Man, we do drop the next 2 games, though, to the Red Sox. Now we got to go back to scouting. We're 4-16. Believe it or not, though, not as bad of a start as last year's White Sox. I think they were 3-22 before getting their 4th win of the year. And okay, so no, selecting positional needs doesn't have anything to do with what's discovered. We discovered 2 more first basemen, a second baseman, and then 1 shortstop. That might be the worst one that we discovered. All right, for this week, I'm zeroing in on this center field prospect, Justin Samuel. He's boosted his ranking from 24th to 4th based on this initial 35%. I'm also keeping the pitching scouting focused on starters for right now, so we're just going to go region by region. And then same thing with discovery. I don't know if you stay in the same region if you'd continue discovering players, but I don't want to take the chance and waste a week of discovery finding that out. So we're going to keep adjusting this too. But I am kind of liking what we're discovering so far. It's not like all bad options from what I've seen. And we get swept in a 4-game series this time against the Red Sox. But it looks like Josh Rojas is ready to come back off the injured list. This is actually a little bit sooner than I expected. I thought it was going to be this entire first month he'd be out. This was Mike Vassal's first start though, so he didn't do too bad. 5 innings, 3 runs allowed. There's a chance too. I mean, we'll have to see. But if we're going to continue to be this bad, I might want to move Karinchak to a different role in the bullpen purely to get him innings pitched. I think it's more valuable to actually get him in games and racking up numbers than to be saving him for a potential save situation. With Josh Rojas coming back from injury, the plan always was once that happened, that's when we decide on something to do with Nick Maton. And deciding on what to do with him kind of just means trading him because he can't be sent down. He doesn't have any options available, but he does have the fire symbol next to him right now. He's a good utility guy, and I found the perfect trade to get rid of Nick Maton. This is the exact type of trade that I wanted to make with a guy like this. But the Braves, it says they're seeking a shortstop. That's Maton's primary position, and they would take him off of our hands for 24-year-old C potential relief pitcher Blake Burkhalter. He's a 66 overall, 24 years old, gives him plenty of time to reach that C potential, and as a relief pitcher, a C potential could still definitely be valuable, especially with our bullpen situation right now. We got to build that thing from the ground up. So we're going to go ahead, offer this, try and make it official. The Braves accept, and not only does that potentially give us a decent future bullpen option if it pans out, but that also frees up a 40-man spot, a spot on the MLB roster, or I guess that doesn't free up a spot on the roster. That just means we don't have to send anybody down with Rojas coming back. But with Rojas coming back, he's just going to fill the role that Nick Maton was in before, being our starting second baseman against right-handed pitching, but he should be better than Maton was at that, and he's also better in the field. He'll platoon with Lenyn Sosa, so he'll take a seat when there's a lefty on the mound. I'm also moving Matt Thaiss up to the leadoff spot because look at the numbers he's putting up. And I had Talkman there, and look at the numbers he's putting up. Actually, he's still getting on base. 350 on base with only an .071 average is crazy. Also, his 2 hits are triples. Still have about a week left to go in the month of April to get through. We've got to take on the Twins again, and we lose the first game to them. Second game, we get a chance in another critical situation, but we're losing. The bats have to come through. Look at, we are in last in about everything offensively. Actually, everything that was listed there offensively. We were 30th ranked. And I missed it again. Is it going to tell me good timing, bad PCI? Basically, just late timing. We would have hit it if I got the PCI there. Well, made contact, but it's not going to be enough. We drop another game. The bats just cannot wake up with me at the controller. And once again, we are on another 6-game losing streak. I think that's already our third 5+ game losing streak of the season, of the month. Got to try and avoid another sweep, and we get another critical situation. We get the lead this time, though, which is good. Just like last game, we loaded in with the lead. It's Jordan Leisure out there trying to prevent some runs from coming across. And we get the pop-up. Nice. So that's going to give us a 1-run lead at least, going to the bottom of the 9th this time, because we're on the road. Any chance I get, though, to try and take some swings, I should take, though. We got to try and get the bats going. God, dude, with the way I'm swinging the bat, though, in this episode, you wouldn't believe me when I tell you. I guess not technically earlier today, but yesterday I took about a half an hour's worth of practice swings against, I think it was Garrett Cole and Paul Skeens. You'd think that would have gotten me ready. Thice. Nope, that's another good timing. Bad PCI. Oh, there we go. All it took was a hanging slurve right down the pipe for Andrew Benintendi to hit out. We go from 0 to 100. A perfect swing, no doubter, 442 feet. That felt good. That felt extremely good. I needed that bad, not just for this game, but for my confidence. And now Teal with a good swing. Hang on a second. Did I just all of a sudden figure it out here with 2 outs in the 9th inning of this game? Maybe it's just the slurve. Maybe that's the only pitch I'm seeing, because that was another one. Well, that's another good swing. Stay fair, it will. Oh, we might be able... No, we won't. Kind of misplayed that, but that'll be another 2-out hit. Stringing them together here. That's 3 in a row. Well, that's another... At least contact was made, but back to a pretty bad PCI there. At least we did something. Not just scoring a run, but at least something I could feel good about, stringing together 3 hits. And now the ball goes back into the hands of James Karinchak. This really is only his 2nd appearance. They only use him, I guess, or they don't use him, because the only times he's been used now is me trying to pick up a save. Definitely something to think about going forward, moving him out of the closer role just to get him some appearances, just to get him some innings. Look at what he's doing, though. Doesn't miss a beat from his last outing. Ah, and he lost one there. All 4 balls extremely close. We didn't get a single chase in that at bat. That was just unfortunate. That's more like it, though. Blown past him at the top of the zone. 1 to go. Oh, and we just barely miss for ball 4 again. Okay, maybe this is just James Karinchak's true colors. He's dominant when he can hit his spots, but when he misses just like that and they can lay off, might be a problem. Okay, this is rough now. Foul ball after foul ball. But we get him to take strike 3. Karinchak picks up another save, another good-looking save. 5 strikeouts in 2 innings of work so far for him. That might have been the best game yet that I've been a part of. Now let's keep shortening the time in between wins here. Okay, and Mydroth is still going to be hurt for a while. We have another series against the A's on the road this time, and we lose. We can't string together wins. We actually haven't had back-to-back wins yet this season, so that's still something to accomplish, and we lose another game again. We've had our fair share of back-to-back losses. All right, well, nothing really to talk about for this week of scouting. Did change a couple of things, but we're all good. We can move on and try to not pick up our 5th series sweep of the month, and we get to do it in a critical situation. Top of the 9th, 2 outs, tie game, and we got to do it against Mason Miller. All right, and I am going to get Mike Talkman off the bench to try and deal with this. He's got high clutch, 80 clutch. Oh, look at that 101. I'm early. I was ready. You can't do that, though. You can't paint it at the bottom of the zone. That's not fair. And I tipped it. All right, well, you know what? Let's bring my closer into the game. Let's see Karinchak for the third time already. Still hasn't been used besides me. But we got the top of their order due up. Just trying to get this one to extras. Give us a chance to take the lead. Broken bat. We got to get there, though, Sosa. Don't be scaring me with yellow jumps like that. There's another strikeout, though. We got to chase on the knuckle curve. Rooker. That's not Robert in center. It's Jankowski, though, and he's going to get there. Nice job. We send it to extras. We live to fight on. Ooh, and Benintendi right out the gates. Man, that's not going to do anything, though. I thought I hit it harder than that. All right, they walk him. He gets walked. Just sets up the double play, though, with that free runner on second. Vaughn? Don't tell me that's another line out. Both Andrews ripping line drives straight to the corner outfielders in this inning. All right, well, Kyle Teal, it's up to him. He's 0 for 10 in the series, and all that means is he's due. And he should beat that out. All right, it's not gonna break the tie, but it is a base hit. Sosa down the line, that's gonna break the tie. That's going to go for extra bases, too. We might wave him around. We might score 3. Get in there. 58 speed from Teal. He is. That's a 3-run, 2-out bases clearing double from Lenyn Sosa. That is swing of the day. I'm definitely figuring something out here on GOAT difficulty in these last couple games. Last couple critical situations. Rojas to center. I'm just late on that. It has a shot to get down. No, it carried a lot more than I thought it would, though. And I am going to go to Clevenger here. He's one of the better options we have right now. He's got an 88 clutch rating with that runner on second base. And that play hopefully should be made. Get it over there, Colson. Nice job. Maybe looked a little clunky getting to it. Gotta get there. Michael A. Taylor. I remember episode 1. I remember opening day. He just doesn't get good jumps on the ball in left field, and it doesn't make sense. And there's strike 3 on Shea Langoliers. What a win. That one is our new best win of the episode. We had to do it on both sides there. Avoiding another sweep. Literally all but one of our wins so far has come on the final game of a series. Our only win that wasn't on the last game of a series was our opening day win. But you know what? I know we still technically have 2 games against the Brewers to finish out the month, but this series does last into next month, and I think finishing an episode on that note might be the way to go out today. Because look, it was not pretty. We are 6-22 to start the season, but it's not like we were expecting to be competitive anyway. Some positive things happened at the end. We made what I feel like was a good trade. We got a good call up with James Karinchak. Montgomery and Teal are here. Actually, our rankings individually, our overall rank of 30th hasn't gone up yet, but our contact for sure has gone up a little bit. I think our pitching's gone up because I think we were 30th there. What I'm saying is there's at least some positives to take away from this episode. And the last thing I want to say to end the episode is just because, I mean, it took so long to come out after episode 1, and a lot of that was just because of me doing what I normally do when I try and make franchise videos and doubting myself and doubting how I want to structure an episode. So I just decided to take the thinking out of it for today and just sit down and record it all live. So let me know how that went. If it was still enjoyable the way that this was. Obviously, I don't know how it came out in the edit yet, but this is a learning experience. This is a process on so many fronts. We got to get better as a team. I got to get better playing on GOAT difficulty, and I got to get better actually making these videos. So there's a lot of layers to this series. But for those of you who made it to this point, thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking around, and I will see you next episode for the month of May.